was always very, very active and prolific in terms of accomplishing my goals. There's always that dream of being able to show at a museum. I've gone to so many museums in so many parts of the world where you see artists that, you know, they're not any better than I am. You know, their expression isn't more powerful than my expression, you know, maybe because they're European or because they're Caucasian, they're accepted more, but their lines aren't any more beautiful than my lines, you know, but yet mine aren't valued because mine get stuck in, oh, that's black art over there, let's push that over there on the side. And people tend not to want to embrace what I'm doing, and I don't get the exposure, and all artists actually want to share. As a Black female artist, artist of color, there are some moments that'll pass in front of my eyes, but it doesn't stay because I know the value of my own work. If you don't know your own value, then you'll let that stick on you like a sticker, you know? Like those little notes that you stick on yourself, and people will see that you're bitter. And I don't think you can attract great experiences and opportunity with those stickers on you, so I don't use them. They don't serve me. Sometimes I'll draw from in the classroom, and then I'll take the piece and I'll put it under plexiglass, and I'll draw a line following the contour of the piece, and then I'll add color to it, and that's what you're seeing. This is a Hottentot Venus. She's a Hottentot bustle woman, because the Hottentot Venus, that's how that fashion came about, was from a woman from South Africa, came to Europe, and her behind was so big that they did these, the women kind of liked it because they created this kind of design of dressing with the bustle, you know, like similar to what she had. After my daughter was born, I went back to school because I wanted to finish my degree. So I went to Cooper Union, got a scholarship for Cooper Union for 2 years. Actually, I was the first set of African American students, there were about 10 of us, that got free tuition, and, you know, it was affirmative action, so they wanted us to come in there. And we had talent, it was just opportunity, you know, so they opened the doors and we went for it. So I finished there, and so Romeo Bearden, of course, meeting him was just magical, and at the time I didn't realize how magical it was until he was gone, you know, and the influence of his collages and collagraphs. And so I use a lot of that in my work. And a collograph is what Romeo Bearden used to do a lot. He would make a plate, which would be a cardboard plate, and you would use cut pieces of cardboard out and glue them onto a board, and then you would cover it so that cover it with like another layer of glue, let it dry, and then you can print on top of it, like a matte finish. And then you'd put oil-based ink into the different sections, and you run it through the press, and then you transfer the color from the plate onto paper. It's another printing technique. This again is mono silk screen, mono meaning one, working on silk very fast. And a lot of the white sections that you're seeing on there is the fact that the ink dries very, very quickly. And it's a water-based ink, so that's why it dries so fast. Some of the figures maybe walking a line, which has to do with the idea of performance, has the idea of like the carnival, not the Caribbean carnival, more like a circus. And I believe, you know, life can be a circus, you know, so we have to walk through a lot of different things. This is another piece, kind of in the midnight hour. This piece has to do with the death of my dad. And my sister and I, we were taking care of him. Actually, I did it after he passed, but, you know, we were protecting him and escorting him to his next place, taking care of him. And it wasn't easy, but, you know, we did what we had to do. So that's what that was about. There is such a thing as the unity of Black artists interpreting their vision of their world and how they see it. Nobody questions the white artists and say, is there such a thing as white art? You know, even though they're doing Renaissance did all these white images of Jesus, who obviously wasn't white from the region that he came from. So I believe just as a group, you could say, you know, that group is interpreting what they see, what their vision is. But I don't really believe in Black art in the sense that it has to be labeled, because what it does, it diminishes the power of the statement that the artist would make. This is when I was at Savannah College of Art and Design, and I would have my own work that I would do. And I took water-based ink and I did a rubbing of the manhole onto the canvas. Then with black ink and probably water-based, I think it was water-based ink, printing ink, I drew the face of this, I don't know this man, I don't know where he came from. He came from my spirit, and that's why I believe sometimes these faces come through me that are on the other side, and I don't, sometimes I meet these people, and then, you know, and I recognize there's a similarity in the face structure, you know. And so then I just drew this figure of this guy was kind of homeless, you know, and also wrote, the fear is in you, not him. Because a lot of times people fear people that are in trouble, people that have poverty, people that have bad health. In our country, there's plenty of people like that, and, you know, sometimes the society, they don't treat them correctly, and they take from them and they push them aside, they push them in the corner. Again, the bigger society will recognize certain people, and they pick one or two, and they blow them up so big that they disconnect them from the other artist, and they become so big, like Hunt. You know, he's huge, you know, nobody knew he was black, first of all, unless, you know, you see him in museums and stuff, but a lot of people probably didn't know he was African American, because they don't stress that. They just know that that guy's work was just amazing. This piece, of course, has many figures interacting. This movement of color that's very mystical in this particular piece. That's what I was interested in, you know, wiping out some of the figure, a suggestion of the figure. And we're still dealing with the jab man, which is, you know, our biggest lessons in life, how we deal with people and who we are after we deal with some hard issues in our lives. So that's kind of what this one is about. Because a lot of times people have pretty words, they say pretty words to get our attention. And then once they get our attention, that's when they lock us down. You know, and so you got to remember, you know, to be careful sometimes in dealing with people, because people say a lot of things and sometimes words don't mean anything to some people. But words mean a lot to me, because I write lyrics, I write, you know, these are words. These are figures, but they are still words too.